This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hello again, hockey fans. Are you ready to brave the wild with me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Owygen? Brave the Wild is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. Kind of a Saturday night special again, really late Saturday night. You could say it's almost Sunday morning-ish by, midnight-ish, but it's 11 at the time I'm starting this first segment. I know it's fascinating stuff. But, maybe a little playoff update and, of course, conversations of, the press conference a bit, kind of like talking about the Minnesota Wild off-season pressers and all that. So, postseason pressers, all that good stuff. Not going to go heavy into detail or anything. Obviously, again, I'm not expecting this to be a very long show. Might be a one-segment shot, maybe two, depending on how I do the Pick 6 ad, which we like to throw into this show, of course, as we always really greatly appreciate DraftKings for having us on board. So thank you very much, Dylan and Kyle. I didn't even mention that in the intro, but, well, here it is anyway. Brave the Wild is available on, again, all of your favorite podcasting apps, and, of course, also on the Hockey Podcast Network, and we thank Dylan and Kyle for having us on board there. So really appreciate it, THPN. You'll notice a small change. It's minor, but it can kind of help with the, what do they call it, SEO type of thing, if I'm saying that correctly. I apologize. Sometimes I just get all these terminology funky and all over the place because I'm kind of weird. Where is it? It is, SEO. Yeah, where, where people can find your show. So the minor changes, you'll notice now. So for a while, it seemed like when we went to Believe, which was our new host, I guess, with THPN, where Brave the Wild is now, they were like, at first, I swear they said, you have to remove episode from your show, the episode number from the title. And then now I guess, nope, we can put it on the, after the title, and it has to be more related to something. It can't be just great week, or what the hell was that? It has to be more like Marcus Foligno, what the hell, or wow, we signed Danila Yurov, which will be a part of this show, that type of thing. Bill Guerin, Wild GM Bill Guerin needs to get his head out of something. Stuff like that, where it's more related to something. Stanley Cup playoffs. Edmonton Oilers kicking butt in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Yes, they are. I'm looking at something I call the Battle of Alberta right now. Yes, I like to collect hats, especially hockey hats. It's the Battle of Alberta. You can probably fill in what that is without me saying. What two teams play in Alberta? They're arch rivals and such. Yeah. Okay, I think I've given enough hints already, and I did post that on the @BraveTheWild Twitter account. Yeah, I'm in kind of a weird mood like I always am, but it's a good thing, I guess. I'm trying to remember where we were. We were in the second round, were we? Where St. Louis somehow... Or was it? The game wasn't over yet, was it? Somehow St. Louis could not beat Winnipeg. That was weird how that all kind of fell apart at the end. Can only imagine the heartbreak for St. Louis fans. That had to suck. So it's kind of similar where we're waiting for a final series to end, like a 7-game series where Toronto and Florida's been all over the place. What did Toronto take a 2-0 lead? Florida won the last won 3 in a row. And then Toronto shut out the Florida Panthers to tie the series up and go back home to host the Game 7. We'll see if Toronto can dethrone the Florida Panthers who would then be, the winner would then be facing off against the Carolina Hurricanes. Dallas Stars just knocked out Winnipeg in Game 6 in overtime in their house, in Dallas's house, of course. So, I don't know. Mikko Rantanen obviously having an unbelievable playoff run and all of that, did almost nothing in Carolina. It's funny. Just imagine if it's Dallas, Carolina in the final. So I'm sure they're kind of annoyed with him, with how he got traded there and basically did nothing. Now he's at Dallas and looks like he's, I don't know, it's kind of starting to remind me of the Marian Gaborik trade with the LA Kings and New York Rangers. So starting to remind me of that, like, holy cow. In fact, I think he's performing even better than Gaborik. But maybe somebody like Derek will be like, the stats actually were actually this and this and that. So, yep, love Derek, and we'll be hearing from him in a little bit, talking about the, PWHL Final Bound Championship Finals. I like using the word finals, not final. Yeah, if you probably noticed. They're in the finals against Ottawa, the Ottawa Charge, apparently. So back to the finals go the Minnesota Frosts. And it's nice that all these teams have names rather than Minnesota versus Ottawa. What, you expected me to say names? It's Minnesota versus Ottawa. I mean, what are you talking about? Yeah, well, it's Minnesota versus Ottawa. So a rematch of the 91 Campbell Conference Finals took place last season. It took place last season, and Edmonton won. They got their revenge, so to speak, even though it's 33 years later at the time. Well, now it's 34 years later, and it's a rematch of last year. So let's see. Yep, I'm still leaning towards Edmonton winning the whole entire enchilada. Yep, might sound weird to some people, but you saw what they did to Vegas. They beat them in 5 games. You know how Wolves in 5? You know how the Wolves took out Steph Curry and not really Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler and the... Jimmy Butler and what the heck are they called? The Golden State frickin' Warriors. Yeah, Draymond Green and his craziness and his cursing, but actually very nice post game / post-mortem press conference. Actually, he was very complimentary to the Timberwolves. So we're going to talk about that on Timberwolves Explosion at some point tomorrow. Yes, because they'll finally know who their opponent is going to be. We, because it is Minnesota. We will know who our opponent is in the Western Conference Finals. So at least the Minnesota Timberwolves are in the conference finals again, which is really cool. We'll see if we get to the finals in the NBA. Wouldn't that be incredible? It'd be the first time since the 1950s a Minnesota team was in the NBA Finals. You realize that? I'm not even sure the Larry O'Brien Trophy existed last time the Minneapolis Lakers were in the NBA Finals. And I think they lost to Boston. That was about when Boston started to get real good. Yeah, the Lakers dynasty was kind of, fading away, kind of like the stupid Golden State Warriors, thank God. So, yes, again, I'm in a weird mood. Obviously, another work day. But this one was at Boston Scientific, not doing lawns. It was kind of chilly out today, and the lawns were caught up. So, very happy about that. Today would have been a phenomenal day to do podcasting. Oh, absolutely great. Like, you're not missing out on much, but it ended up being a phenomenal day to going to Boston Scientific, but at least getting time and a half. So, yes, I know. A dear friend of mine, Vince Germano, would say, you can't give up that cheese. And I understand. Even though I hate losing a Saturday like that. God, it's depressing. You work enough, right? When you have 2 jobs. Okay, enough of my whining. Yes, we're waiting for Toronto, Florida. Who's going to win that game tomorrow? I think 99% of the public would lean Florida because Toronto just don't win games like this, and they haven't won a Stanley Cup since the original 6 were the original 6, and obviously other teams that disbanded, but they were like the remaining original 6, basically, is what took place. Like, there used to be an Ottawa Senators team and a Seattle Metropolitans and all of them, and all these other weird teams that came and went. Like, there were 2 Montreal teams and stuff. So, kind of funny how all that turns out. Again, in a weird mood, wild conversation. Let's get to wild conversation. First, let's go to the sponsor first. Why the heck not? Ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, including prize picks. And Anthony Edwards likes to posterize the competition as well, a turning point in that Golden State series. Oh yeah, that dunk changed things dramatically. Anyhow, next, hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6 plus even more cash if you outscore the competition, which hopefully the Timberwolves continue to do. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. So my experience with it has been a lot of fun. Of course, again, keeping up with the Timberwolves in this postseason is fun. Edmonton Oilers, I mean, betting on them is a lot of fun these days. It's been a lot of fun as well. But Pick 6 right now, we're talking about basketball. Celtics, obviously, and unfortunate one, but a lot of people lost money in that series because who picks the New York Knicks? They're the Toronto Maple Leafs of basketball. Like, wow, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. Wow, it's the New York Knicks. Madison Square Garden. Yeah, and they lost again. Not this time. Interesting. Again. Anyhow, new players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Ooh, I was getting a frog in my throat there at the end. My apologies. Apologies to Pick 6, but hopefully it's all clear and everything for everybody. Yep, the Vegas Golden Knights are already post-mortem, and coming into this, remember, right after the end of the Stanley Cup Finals last year, Edmonton wins the Cup. I tweeted it out. And then I go into this postseason, Vegas wins the Cup because Edmonton's just, falling off the face of the earth, and the Kings are going to beat them. And the Kings were beating them. And then Edmonton just went on a run, and they look great. Anyhow, get off of that. Let's talk about the Wild for now. So the postseason press conferences, the post-mortem press conferences and such are pressers with Bill Guerin and Mr. John Hines. John Hines, I like him as a coach for the most part. I like that he makes adjustments and such, but it did feel like he was, kind of coached circles around a bit by Bruce Cassidy. He does look like the superior coach between those two. And then Edmonton was just freaking better than Vegas. Kind of the sin bin basically said that. Like, Edmonton was just freaking better. There's nothing you can do. They just were better. They just were. Anyhow, as for John Hines, it's like, can the Wild do better? Probably. Will the Wild make a move? No. At least not right now. Depending on how things go, I don't get a negative vibe there. But you really didn't have a negative vibe on Dean Evason other than failure in the postseason. But that's kind of everybody. And I do think next time, I think this might be Bill Guerin's last coach to be able to say, you're out of here, we got to go with someone else. I'm sorry, no offense, I love you, brother, that kind of stuff. Because Bill Guerin, he can be cutthroat, but he's also, you can tell he really appreciates his coaches that have been here. He's been kind to all of them for the most part, especially Dean Evason, and I think he'd be the same to John Hines. But I think it might be more of like Bill Guerin on his way out with the coach if this team doesn't make a move forward, possibly as soon as next season. If we're kind of sitting here frustrated, getting beat, in a 6-game series, whatever, we were competitive. Oh, we were right there. Yeah, well, we probably would have lost to Edmonton with the way things are looking. Probably. But interesting thoughts from Bill Guerin is he's really focused on center, the center position and such, and everybody right away is thinking, and the way Bill Guerin was wording it, obviously you hear this from Russo and others, but also, again, we can all kind of understand it similarly with the way Bill Guerin was talking, that it's like, it's the old kind of throwing shade without throwing shade, like by just flat out not mentioning a person. Like, you didn't even mention Marco Rossi. Like, we need help for, we need to get another center to go with, to go down the line with, Julius Sanek. And it's like, okay, how about Marco You didn't even mention him. So it's kind of like throwing shade by leaving people out. Some of us know what that feels like, and it sucks and it makes you mad. And if you're fortunate enough, it can motivate you and make you a million times better, and everything's fine later. You prove the son of a gun wrong, which some of us like to do on a daily basis. No shade being thrown there at all. But anyhow, talking about the center position, a lot of people are annoyed and afraid of the thought of possibly bringing in Brock Nelson at age, he'd be turning 34 in between now and the season, I believe, if I remember correctly, or right at the beginning of the season. Well, he's been an Iron Man. He's been fantastic. He'd be great in the face-off circle. He's 6'4", I believe, right? big guy. Sounds like another Eric Stahl, but probably won't be as good. And I am not interested in signing somebody at 34 for a long-term deal, pardon me. And it would have to be something short-term. The only Brock I would consider is Brock Besser, and because he's Kirill Kaprizov stage. It's the same draft, I do believe. I do believe it is. I do believe it is the same draft. Obviously, Minnesota ties, Brock Nelson, Brock Faber, Brock Besser, Brock. You know, what's the other Brock? Isn't there a Brock, wasn't there a Brock wrestler too? Brock Lesnar. What's up with the Brocks here? Might as well call it Brock Soda. Jeez. Yeah, that sounds like a pop. Brock Soda or Brock IPA or Brock the Rock. I don't know. Enough of the Brocks already. Stop calling your son Brock, people. Okay, anyhow. Sorry. It is kind of a funky thought, though, isn't it? It's a lot of Brocks, but good for them. Nice to know that they're successful in their endeavors. Thrilled to have Brock Faber, of course, but Besser, yeah, I mean, he wouldn't be the worst, I don't think. Might not be the best either. 97, just like Kirill the Thrill. Same draft. 23rd overall versus Kirill being, fifth round. Brock Besser's been in the NHL starting from 16-17. Obviously, he was at the University of North Dakota where you burn the first year and everything. 5 points in 9 games. But, yeah, he got to play 9 games. See, that's the difference. Where our guy, Mr. Whatever the heck his name is, Steve William, got to play no regular season games. So it's like, yeah, he was there for like one game, he was available for like a game, basically. So you burn a whole year just to put him in 3 playoff games. Fantastic. I don't know. Brock Besser's numbers haven't been phenomenal, but then again in 23-24, he did have 40 goals and 33 assists, 73 points. Otherwise, he's pretty much a 50-ish kind of point guy. So you're hoping they're not going to break the bank for him. And the years where it looks like he missed games, those are like COVID-ish type of years. Though I suppose in 1920, that was not a COVID year. Was it? Yes, it was. What am I talking about? I'm an idiot. Of course it was. Duh. Okay, never mind. He played only 57 games. What a wimp. No, there was less games that year. In 2021, there was less games that year too. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, it looks like he traditionally misses around 10-ish games. But the last couple years, 74 and 22-23, 81. Season before last, and then 75 this past season with 50 points. So, decent numbers, respectively, the last 3 years. Brock Besser, 55 points, 73 points, and 50 points. Now, again, he's not a center. He'd be a right winger, but we'll see. I'm just kind of bringing this up partially because if you're going to bring in a Brock, I'd rather bring in Brock Besser. And, of course, you already have Faber, and you've signed him to a lot of money. And he kind of deserves it, too. Kind of, sort of. So that's the good news. The other significant piece of news is pretty exciting for a lot of us, and there was an intriguing part of it that I wasn't really expecting at the end of the day. You know, this guy that we drafted in the 2022 draft, Danila Yurov, yeah, the Minnesota Wild signed him to an entry-level contract. Liam Ogren was taken 19th overall, and we hope he can be our Brock Besser, basically. He could just be like addition from within. And Danila Yurov is going to be addition from within, because apparently there's something in his contract where it's basically like he could opt out, we're going to send you to the AHL, and he could say, I'm going to opt out, not to this contract like completely, but opt to a point like he could go back to the KHL. Why he would want to do that, I'm not sure, because, well, look what happened over there. You know what they do when they know you're going to the NHL? they're like, enjoy the third and fourth line. We're not going to play you very much. That's kind of what they do, and that's why Danila Yurov's numbers were kind of weaker this past season. He won the whole enchilada last year with Metallurg, and he's back with Metallurg again. 49 points, 21 goals, 28 assists in the season before last, the championship year. This past season, he did miss some games. He was hurt a bit. He was banged up a bit. 46 games, 25 points, only 25 points. But his numbers are pretty damn phenomenal for a guy who's 21 or under, basically. So at the pro level over there in the KHL. So extremely encouraging when you consider that. Obviously, Kirill Kaprizov was definitely pretty much a phenom over there in the KHL as well. So we get this guy at age 21. He will turn 22 on December 22nd. Wow, there you go. Happy golden birthday, at least. And he will also wear number 22. So that's where, that will be his golden birthday. His golden birthday, 22nd of December, turns 22, and he's going to wear number 22. So that's going to be kind of cool. Hopefully he gets to play that day. So you're noticing when you look at his profile and everything, it says right wing and shoots left, which is kind of weird, but here's the interesting part. What did Bill Guerin say? How they talked about how, he's been known to play, but he's been able to play center and right wing over in the KHL. What do you see him as, Bill? And Bill said, I see him as a center. So very interesting there. So building from within there, which could be really exciting. I'm guessing Danila Yurov will be slotted in as the third line center, at least opening night, if he makes the team, which he probably will. I would hope Danila Yurov is going to make the team. But
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Third line center at the very beginning. After that, who knows? Top six for sure. I got to think so. But then again, maybe he will be second line. Who knows? And depending on what happens with this guy named Marco Rossi, who had 60 points this past season, who I guess doesn't fit our future plans. I don't know. Maybe he still will. Maybe they're not happy with his kind of, I don't know, like he thinks he's worth more than what they're giving him and da-da-da, or what they're offering. Well, the first offer was kind of chintzy. Now, if Marco Rossi was continuing to, be around the 40, 50 point range, I think that's just kind of reasonable. But now that it's clearly better than that, I don't know. And for a guy that was put down in the fourth frickin' line, to be able to still be able to score 2 goals with what was it, Justin Brazeau and this other guy who hasn't done a gosh dang thing. Well, I forgot his name. It's like Jakob. He hasn't done a dang thing. He hasn't done a gosh dang thing, and he's making like $4 million a year. So it's kind of like weird at the end of the day that you'd put him down that far. But the good news is, again, that Rossi was surprisingly good during all of that. Yakov Trenin, it's like, okay, it's like my brain's just like stopping. It's Yakov Trenin. So that's the encouraging sign that Mr. Rossi, who insisted, I am a top 6 player during his postseason presser, post-mortem, whatever presser, whatever you want to call it, that, he is a top 6 player, and I tend to agree. So maybe Rossi is back. I'm guessing right now, less than 50% chance he is, with the way just the attitude seems to be, the organization and Rossi seem to be a ways apart. But things happen sometimes. But then again, you kind of saw that coming with Kevin Fiala. Financially, it was almost like a guarantee it was going to happen that way. Too bad the salary cap didn't go up. Maybe didn't go up back then. But conveniently, that was right around the COVID time. So I don't think the salary cap was going up around then, when arenas were restricted all over the place and such. and people's finances were not so hot, even if the building's doors were opened up again at the time. So that was the bummer, losing Kevin Fiala one way or another. Really appreciate Yakov Trenin's 15 freaking points this year, by the way, in 17 games. Yeah, you're like, oh, he must have missed a lot of time. Yeah, must have. Must have missed a ton of time, huh? Yeah. 6 games only. And some of them were scratches, I think. So, I don't know what to tell you. Liam Ogren, yeah, that's a guy that I think is ready to take that next step to being a regular National Hockey League player. 40 to 50, well, I would hope more than 40 points. But last year he was on pace for close to like 35-ish, so nothing too special last year. But he's 20. He's like a baby, basically, in the hockey world. Unless you're a phenom like Connor McDavid or something. This guy that wears that Oilers uniform. Not quite as pretty as the 80s Oilers look, though. That's why you got to go with Mitchell Ness if you want that 80s look. Nudge, nudge, hint, hint. For me, it's all about the 80s, man. Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers, all about the 80s. Freaking Vancouver Canucks, too, but I won't be buying one of those. But I love those uniforms. I think they're cool from that era. I don't know. I'm going all over the place again. I'm kind of weird, aren't I, today? But it's Saturday night, and I'm kind of funky mood. And I'm not drunk at all. I haven't had a drop of alcohol, and I don't get drunk either. I don't know. Like a lot of this is kind of off-season talk that'll go into State of the Wild. That's coming up pretty soon. State of the Wild 2025. That should be, well, that's usually after the Stanley Cup Final and leading into the draft, that type of thing, draft preview and such, where, we'll see how the Wild go with that. Obviously, draft picks in the NHL are a little different than, say, football, where, they're going to be there and like a month later you're going to see them working out for the team and everything. And, we'll see you at training camp in a few months. It's not quite the same in hockey. You might see them for, like, prospect workouts and such, but then, back to juniors or college or overseas they go one way or another. The future looks fairly bright, and obviously, again, what are our expectations for Danila Yurov in the upcoming season? I think I should have put a poll for that, and I still can. So again, this is a kind of a funky, spur of the moment episode, but that's kind of where we're at with the Wild. I guess, and there's not a whole lot to say other than, again, getting Danila Yurov. That's wonderful, and of course the Minnesota Frost getting to the final. That's great. Finals, excuse me. Other conversations. Very impressed with Carolina. Completely dispatched the Washington Capitals. Impressive. President's Trophy curse continues, unfortunately, for the Washington Capitals. They crushed Montreal in 5 games and then got beaten 5 games. It was, Carolina in 5. Toronto, Florida looked like it was going to be all Toronto. Then it looked like Florida was going to, do a 93 Bulls and come back from 2-0 down and win the next 4. Bulls versus Knicks, of course. Edmonton, Vegas. Edmonton dispatched Vegas pretty bad in that one. Dallas looked like the better team pretty much the whole way versus Winnipeg. Pretty much, except for like that close overtime battle with the Jets in Game 5 to stay alive. And then Game 6 goes to overtime, and then Dallas ends up winning it. So, kind of is what it is. Crazy story with, again, Ratnan versus Colorado, his former team. Just absolutely nuts. Where he just went absolutely, I don't even know, like like Mario Lemieux or something. It was nuts. Obviously not comparable players at all, but whatever. Mario Lemieux like numbers, basically, at the end of the day. I'm sticking with my guns. Edmonton Oilers will get past the Stars. It's not going to be easy. It'll be the toughest series. Maybe I think the winner of this series probably wins the Cup. I think the Western Conference is the Stanley Cup champion this year. So if the stupid Stars get past Edmonton, pray to God Carolina or Florida can dispatch them, or Toronto. But you can probably guess where I'm hinting in the East. I think probably Carolina is going to beat the winner of Toronto and Florida. I think so. I remember I was stupidly thinking that I don't know what I was talking about. Yeah, I was thinking, that I guess I was correct. Like Winnipeg, St. Louis, I was originally thinking neither one of them is going to get past the Stars or Colorado. and they didn't. And then I was like, oh, no, never mind the momentum because of that series. No. Both series went to 7th games, which is pretty impressive. Those ended up being great series. Colorado actually had a shot at that thing, but they didn't get it. Winnipeg almost lost to St. Louis and came roaring back. And, now the Stars look like a huge threat, of course, and I'm sure they will be, but so does Edmonton. Edmonton's got the best player in the league and maybe the third best player in the league. And some other nice pieces around them. Not great, but nice pieces around them. The star power of the Edmonton Oilers could be, they're due to win a Stanley Cup at some point. This is not the 80s Oilers reincarnated. It's just not. They need more. The closest thing right now in the NHL, I'm not sure exists. It might be Florida, which is kind of weird sounding considering I don't have them even getting to the final. But because of the depth and everything, and obviously the Wild possibly could be going after a Sam Reinhart in the offseason. Good luck with that, though. We'll have to wait and see. Looking for like a top type of a center, which I think the Wild do need. So if we are going to move on from Rossi, you hope and pray that the Wild can get like a Sam Reinhart type. Maybe one of those two be the number one. One of those two between Reinhart and Jules Arsenault anyway. And then third line would be Yurov. And then, of course, Freddie Gaudreau would be the fourth line center, which is where he should be. He's an okay third liner. Should never see the light of day in the second line unless there's some kind of in-game adjustments. He's just having a great game and deserves, that, whatever. That type of thing. He deserves extra ice time and such, which is fun to do sometimes if a player's playing his ass off. But we'll see what happens. I'm doubtful. I have my doubts the Wild are going to get Sam Reinhart, basically. So don't count on that happening. Maybe it will. If the Wild signed Brock Nelson, I don't know. I'm not happy, especially if he had another one of those BS no move clauses. I think we've all had enough of that garbage. I think we have. But I think Carolina and Edmonton will be in the Stanley Cup final with the Oilers winning in 7. Epic 7-game series. There's going to be a lot of back and forth in that series, but Edmonton's going to win out in the end and win the Stanley Cup. A Dallas-Carolina Cup final would be pretty good. I think it'd be pretty good. It'd be rooting the heck off for the Carolina Hurricanes in that one or anybody in the East. I do not want Dallas to win the Stanley Cup. Bottom line, I'd take Florida any day of the week over Dallas. Toronto, I do believe Derek, that's who he has in the final. So he was saying enjoy, or congratulations on first place. Well, it's over now. Vegas lost, and Dallas and Florida, there's a pretty good chance they might be in the final. So we'll see. There's a chance. I'm thinking, Carolina's going to win the East, though. I mean, they are. Oof. They're like the Timberwolves, 5 games. Hopefully the Wolves are in the finals, too, in the NBA. But I think Carolina goes to the final. Finally. They've had so many good teams. Every freaking year. Remember, pre-game and preseason and postseason, I'm picking Carolina to either win the Cup or at least get there. And finally, I think this is the year they break through. But I do believe this is the year Edmonton breaks through to the Stanley Cup itself this time. Because they've been cooking for a while. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago they got to the conference. 2 years ago they lost, I think, in the second round, if I remember correctly. Last year they lost by a goal in the Stanley Cup final. They lost by a goal. Do you realize that? Yeah, that's how close they were. Yes, they were down 3 games and everything, but they came back, though. And they were right there. They were right there. So, very impressive. Let's get to some fan interaction here quickly. And I probably don't have it loaded. That's great. Of course they don't have it loaded. That'd be too convenient. A Purple Mafia show? What the heck is that? It's a Viking podcast, yes. Enough of my self-indulgence. Damn it. Hashtag BTWMN, and yes, it is at Brave the Wild regarding where to go. There will be a poll or so with would you just stop with the spinning wheel? But yeah, there'll be a poll with Derek, at least one, talking about the Minnesota Frost. You're kidding. Something went wrong. Oh, that's real nice. Oh my God. Okay. About to lose my frickin'... Oh yeah, that was the other topic I want to get to. Yeah, we're going to get there in about 5 seconds. Yep, no bat signal again because just no bat signal. I know. I'm just because it's spur of the moment type of stuff. I'll probably have a bat signal as we get closer to the Cup final, but we'll see. One of Derek's polls for at Crease Assist podcast. Great show last episode. Really awesome. Honesty by all three of you, by the way. That was awesome. Derek, Teresa, and Kalisha. Great show. Really. So Derek was asking, how would you describe your NHL viewing after the Minnesota Wild are eliminated? Done for, this is 4 choices. Done for the season. Tune out until Stanley Cup Finals. Tune out until Western and Eastern Conference Finals. Watch games each night. I picked watch games each night. Come on. But no, I mean he's just gauging fans' interest, and I agree. That's the one I picked. At least I thought I did. And that is what won, 71%. So, yeah, the others got 10% or less, basically. Next one. Yeah, there's a lot of emotion in this one. Huge. Bill Guerin, of course, said the team is looking for centers. That probably means they're dealing number 23 and searching for a veteran. Win draws and such. If it's Brock Nelson, what would you like that move over keeping Rossi? Okay, what am I saying? I read this completely dumb here. I apologize. If it's Brock Nelson, would you like that move over keeping Rossi? It's a hell to the no. Anyhow, the 4 choices are yes, 100%. Make it so, like number 1. Meh, dealing new for old. No, big mistake. And okay idea, just not for Nelson. I put no big mistake, and that did win barely. 38.5 versus okay idea, just not for Nelson. Like, okay idea maybe to move on with Rosie, but not for that old guy. Yeah, it'd be dumb. I just think it'd be really dumb. But I don't know. Bill Guerin loves his veterans. But let's get the young guys in there for heaven's sake. You've got veterans. Gosh dang it. You've signed enough veterans. You have them. You have Foligno. You have Spurgeon. Didn't I rant about this on the last show? Yeah, but because I'm probably going to rant about it forever. You have veterans already. You even have Zach Bogosian still for another year. Like, whoop-de-bleep and do. Do you have to keep signing veterans? You have veterans. You have veterans. Even Philip Gustafson is kind of a veteran too. All right, next topic, please. Brand new National Hockey League new name to the franchise. The Utah Hockey Club is now the Utah Mammoth. Isn't that cool? And then the 3 possible colors. You got the black, is it night or mountains, like the blue sky kind of look. I love that one. And then the white snow. And there's some similarities with this mammoth logo to the Minnesota Wild in a lot of ways, because it's kind of got that wilderness in the background. Like, clearly it's an animal. It's a mammoth head, basically. Head and kind of like, a little bit of the neck and such.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
And, of course, you got the tusk, and then you have the slogan Tusks Up, which is kind of cool, like scarves up for the Minnesota Loons. So, but yeah, you have mountains in the back area, like the top of the head, kind of going down the back a little bit, back and neck and everything. Very nicely done, in my opinion. Now, the actual look might not be the most exciting thing of all time, but generally speaking, I support it. I do. I don't think it's this minor league look and minor league name. It's something you can get off EA Sports or anything. I think it's a little better than that. It might not be the best logo of all time, but there's no such thing as the best logo of all time. Who's going to do it? I remember my friend Paul, when the Minnesota Wild logo came out, he said it was the best logo of all time because of the detail. And yeah, I mean, at the time I agreed with him. I'm not in love with the Wild logo, but I do really like it. I do. Now, of the 3 colors, again, the one I want the most, the one I like the most, if I were to get a hat, a shirt, or a jersey for the Utah Mammoth, it's definitely the sky blue. I think it's awesome. It's a good color scheme. And I'm glad they kept it, and I thought they would. Kind of like the Minnesota Frost did, like when they were the Minnesota Hockey Club, basically, when it came to, PWHL, Professional Women's Hockey League, and all that. They kept the color scheme, which is good, and it looks good with frost because it's kind of got that below zero purple sky look. When the temperatures drop below zero, the sky tends to have a purple hue, especially in the horizon, and I think that fits the frost perfectly, because frost means really cold, right? At least you think it would, and it seems to fit well with that purple. And yeah, the logo is not real exciting. It's just an F, but that's the one thing. Maybe they can add more detail to it in the future, but I don't despise it or anything. It is what it is. Utah Mammoth, I don't despise at all. I think it's wonderful. I don't think it's magic and fantastic and the best thing of all time, but I do think it's pretty good. So, welcome to the National Hockey League, Utah Mammoth. There was a comment. Yes, I'm glad there was. Yep, there he goes. Yep, Derek says, I'm pretty sure I will pick up one of these jerseys. Cool. Looks good to me, and, well, what am I saying? I keep losing track because I'm tired or whatever. Looks good to me, and, well, I think we all wanted Yetis. This is the next best thing. Yep, I agree. I think it's pretty good. Derek. It's pretty good, and yes, like I kept mentioning, repeating myself, the color scheme I think is awesome. It would have fit the Yetis well. It would have fit the Mammoths. Outlaws, I don't know. Maybe they're looking more like red or something, or like kind of brown kind of stuff, like red-brown kind of look. Pesky varmints. But Mammoths are not pesky varmints, and it's kind of cool how you get kind of some people might call it mythical, where in this case it's more prehistoric, but in a way it is kind of mythical because it's in the, it would be more of an obscure creature, even though it's very large. It would be kind of like a blurry creature, so to speak, because it's in a more rural, obscure area, kind of like Yetis / Bigfoots. Yes, would be in a more obscure place. They're not walking around on the streets of Salt Lake City, not the Yetis or the Mammoths or anything like that. But yeah, it's cool. Next, so I was saying Battle of Alberta. I got one like, and I appreciate that. Calgary and Edmonton. There it is, PWHL Finals, and Derek does have something to say, and I'm definitely, what's the word? Is it conferring? What's the word you say when you're referring? I'm referring to Derek. I believe that's the right word. Let's just say his knowledge on PWHL is better than mine. Yes, I concur and I concede. Derek opens up with, it should be an intriguing series. Minnesota's offense has really come alive. The Charge have had some good games against the Frost this season, but that was before the team has found its groove offensively. In my opinion, the offense from the Frost defense will be the X factor. Lee Steckling, Sophie Jacques can bring the offense. Offensively, the Frost have had two lines going pretty well. Don't sleep on their rookies. Dominique Petrie, I like that name. Brooke McKiggy, I hope I'm saying it. Yeah, that is correct. I apologize, of course. Who have come up with the clutch goals too to augment their attack, led by KCS and Heights. Yep. And I'm looking forward to the series for sure. And it'd be nice to see them win the first two championships. We'll be like the Green Bay Packers winning the first two Super Bowls, right? I had to say it. Okay, here's the last poll. Derek has it coming out. How do you see the PWHL Finals between the Minnesota Frost and Ottawa Charge, best of 5 playing out? Frost in 3, Frost in 4 or 5, Charge in 4 or 5, or Charge in 3. Well, the Frost in 4 or 5, I did pick that, and yes, it's leading in a landslide right now, 72.7%. So I also posted, as for Dallas winning, bleep them and their fans. Hope Edmonton takes them out, and that got a lot of likes. Nobody said anything, but a few retweets and a decent amount of likes for just like 1 hour ago only. So I think that's going to wrap things up here. Just want to have the little outro here, I guess you could say. I just want to thank all of you so much for listening to the show, and huge shout outs, of course, to the likes of MNW Prospects or MNW Young Guns. Really love you guys, and you guys do a great job on the social media. Of course, Croesus' podcast, Minnesota Wild Global. Really appreciate you, Scott Cavendish, Kathy Main, Chad Walski, David Abraham, David and Chance Kostick. Great fans of the Minnesota Wild that know their stuff. That's what's also super important. Notifications, what's going on? Anything extra coming up? Nope, it's just mostly likes and retweets, but people agree with me about this whole Dallas rant, so I don't like the Stars. I just don't like them at all. With all of that said, thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back to talk some more Minnesota Wild, maybe as more news comes out, but really excited to have Danila Yurov in the fold. And at age 21, you don't have to wait till he's like 25, like Kirill Kaprizov, so that's a definite positive, to say the least. We'll end with that note.